What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about The Bride of Chucky. So The Bride of Chucky is the fourth installment into the Chucky or Child's Play franchise and is the first Chucky film in the franchise called Of Chucky. After this film, you have Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky. So The Bride of Chucky is the first time in the franchise where they go full-blown comedy. If you've been watching my reviews thus far for the Child's Play Chucky franchise, you know that I don't watch these films for quality. I objectively go into them knowing that I'm not really going to care much for the human characters or anything really going on other than Chucky. The character of Chucky is really what keeps these films interesting and fun to watch. And I think that's the case for a lot of the sequels when it comes to some of these slasher characters like Chucky or Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. You know, over time, you know how many people are going to die in the movie. You can tell who already is going to be set up to die. And in a lot of cases, you can enjoy a lot of those random characters. But when it comes to the Child's Play franchise, yeah, this is definitely a franchise that, for me at least, I never really care at all going in about any of the human characters. It's really all about Chucky. And for me, I have a love-hate relationship with this film, right? Because it's not a good movie in a lot of ways, just in a great amount of ways. It's definitely just over the top and really stupid and really dumb. The characters are just really dumb the entire time as far as just the regular human characters. And, you know, it's one of those things you really aren't caring or following that story as like something that you're deeply invested in. So this is the first film in the franchise that doesn't have Child's Play in the title, and I love it because they kind of reinvented the franchise while also, you know, continuing on based on the story. You still have Brad Dourif playing Chucky, which is amazing, and we're introduced to a new character named Tiffany in this film. And Tiffany essentially gets her hands on the doll and is a huge fan of just the creepiness that comes behind Chucky. She's a serial killer herself, and she just loves everything that has to do with Chucky and his story. I won't get into any spoilers because there are things that you end up finding out about Tiffany and her history with Charles Lee Ray, Chucky, and there's a little bit more there that I won't really talk about. But overall, this is a film that I really enjoy, and I think I really enjoy it just because it really doubles down on how silly, dumb, and just over the top this premise and these characters are. Chucky is just a crazy and wacky character, and the inclusion of Tiffany as a huge part of the storyline is just really funny to me. They've gone on to become two of the weirdest characters in horror for me that I just really enjoy seeing anytime they're on screen. And again, Brad Dourif is just so great in the role. And since this film had some time in between the first three films and when this one was released, we really have upped the game when it comes to animatronics and a lot of the visuals that are able to bring Chucky to life. And if you remember in my reviews for the first three, that's really what makes these films. It's the visual effects, the things that go into making Chucky look real and feel tangible. Obviously, he looks silly, he's over the top, he's a talking doll that cusses and is just incredibly vulgar and is out there just killing people in some of the silliest and dumbest ways. And I think that this film really is the first time that, not that they took the first ones too seriously, but this is definitely the first time I feel like they really just double down on recognizing, hey, this is just a silly premise. This isn't a horror film that you're going to sit down and be like, ooh, am I going to get scared? Is my friend going to get scared? Let me show this to my family member because it'll scare them. I think this is something that everybody can go into. Maybe there's some gruesome elements that maybe some people won't like, but for the most part, these films are completely silly and over the top, and the character of Chucky is just entertaining in the fact that he's so ridiculous. And so for me, when you watch this movie, it just doubles down on that. There are scenes between the dolls in this film, specifically Chucky, that are just so over the top and ridiculous. The dialogue is just dialed up to 11, and it's just such a weird film. And as you can guess from the title, it's really not too deep of a spoiler. Obviously, there eventually is a Bride of Chucky, and if you can see based on the thumbnail I posted, or if you've ever seen any imagery of this, you probably have seen the other doll, Tiffany. And so, you know, I won't get into any of the spoilers if you ever do want to check this out, because you know, there is a story there. If you like watching these films like I do from beginning to end, or just want to watch a new franchise that has some sort of linear narrative throughout the entire thing, even though it's just super over the top and ridiculous and not too much really matters, the character of Tiffany and Chucky are definitely a fun storyline to keep up with and follow across the film. So I won't really get into that story and what's happening there. But overall, is this film well acted? Sure, for what it is. You know, the actors know what kind of movie they're in. It feels like that B horror, like I've talked about in the last reviews. This is a B horror franchise done at its best, in my opinion. There's just so much about it that's just so silly, so over the top. You can't take it too seriously, but it's a lot of fun to watch, and it's just so dumb and over the top. And Chucky, that's the biggest thing, right? Chucky is done so well. So much about the character of Chucky and Tiffany and the dolls overall in this franchise is just done so well, and they really lean into how ridiculous and entertaining their characters are in these situations. And I think that that's what really drives this story forward. I think it's definitely necessary if you're going to watch the next movie, Seed of Chucky, because the events at the very end of this film play directly into that. However, However, what I will say is that this isn't some great film. This isn't like an amazing installment. But I think that this takes these characters and this franchise as a whole in a new, fun, really weird, silly direction. And I think that some people are either going to really like it or really not like it. You know, there are some people who enjoy the more horror elements that the first three provide, even though they do have some comedy elements and they do lean into how ridiculous they are. It isn't until this film, Bride of Chucky, that they really double down on how silly, over the top, and comedic this whole situation is. And it becomes more of a horror comedy, and it gets even more of a horror comedy when it comes to Seed of Chucky. I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to throw out a review for this. I do recommend it to anybody who's a fan of B horror, or maybe has never seen these movies before. I always recommend at least one watch, unless the movie is god-awful. But I think there's something here. I think Brad Dourif's performance when it comes to Chucky and the inclusion of Tiffany in this film, and just the overall expanding lore and narrative around Chucky and his ridiculousness, is just a lot of fun to watch. And I think it's just so silly and so stupid. And I think if you go into it knowing that you're not about to watch some sort of Oscar-worthy film, but it's just going to be some B horror that really does not take itself too seriously, I think you'll have a really good time with it. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my review for Bride of Chucky. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did you like this movie? Have you seen this movie before? Are you even interested in these films? You know, what is your favorite Chucky moment? Answer all those questions down below, guys. Thank you guys again for watching. I do really appreciate all of you who have recently subscribed, and for all of you subscribers who have been watching for quite some time, thank you so much. Your continued support is really what helps me drive this channel forward. I don't know when you guys will be watching this, but I'm currently in Florida waiting for this hurricane to either hit us or not hit us. So hopefully, you know, if it does hit us, it's not too bad. But I wanted to throw this review up before that does happen, in case I lose power for quite some time. And yeah, I won't have any new videos. So if you don't see any videos coming from me for quite a few days, it could be that I have no power, and that, yeah, that's the situation I'm in. So yeah, guys, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!